Hi, welcome to It's Your Life by the Grace of God. Um, I was just looking at my my verses of the ones that we're going to start out with. Okay, so we're still on Proverbs 31. We are on Proverbs 31, verse 22. So I'm just gonna start. Verse the King James version. This is the one I always start out with anyway. So this one starts with she makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. And then the NIV 22. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. In 24, she makes garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. The New Living Translation, she quilts her own bedspreads. She dresses like royalty in gowns of finest cloth. Her husband is well known, for he sits in the council meeting with the other civic leaders. She makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. So, they all do kind of sound alike, except for 22, where she talks about she makes tapestries for herself. Then the NIV, she makes coverings for her bed. In the New Living Translation, she quilts her own spreads. So those are all different. But I think I like the first one because it talks about tapestry. And when you think about that, it's like, she was into needlepoint, obviously. I mean, when you're into needlepoint, it's really time consuming because you have to. I mean, I don't know what they had in that day, but I don't even know what kind of needle she had, or if it was made out of wood, or I'm not sure. But I mean, it's not like what we have now. I mean, now we have crochet needles, we have knitting needles, we have the latch and hook, we have we have so many ways of doing needlepoint, cross stitch, which is more like needlepoint that the tapestry that you would see now. I mean, if you ever look at a tapestry wall hanging, especially some that are really like way back then, I mean, you could really see the intricate work that they put into it, you know, and the different colors, and it's really amazing. But those, again, that kind of work takes a lot of time to do. So I could just imagine how much time she took to get that work done. But 'cause that was the word that really got to me when I was seeing that verse, which is usually what I get out of, what is that? The observation. The word that jumped out on me was the tapestry one. The second part of 22, she makes her tapestry for herself. Her clothing is in fine linen and purple. And in the NIV, she makes coverings for her bed. And then for the new translation, she quilts her own bedspreads. I mean, quilting takes also a lot of time to do, so I'm not really sure how she managed to do quilting back in that day. But I'm pretty sure there was something similar to what we do now. It's not. It can't be too far from it. Although, right these days, you have something called long arm, and and you could do some quilting uh, by hand, but when you're doing different designs in quilting, you're talking about different patterns, and the quilting is more like little pieces of different kind of cloth that is sewn together, and then you put it in this long machine. Long ways. It's long ways, and it's called a long arm for a reason, because this long arm extends, way out into the cloth, and it just, points a design closing all the three layers of fabric in order to make the quilt, which is kind of thick. I mean, I don't know, but quilts to me are like warmer than your basic cover, because they're really thick covers. So I don't know how they did it in that day, but like I said, quilting these days, you have to do it with a machine. I mean, some can do it by hand, but you would need a machine. But the second part to that was the her clothing is in fine linen and purple. And for the new translation, she dresses like royalty in gowns of finest cloth. Now the royalty gowns are like, I mean, they had to be expensive, not to mention the fabric that she got. Okay, they had to be, pricey, because she was the cloth was of the finest brand, and then who knows how she sewed it up together, but she was always dressed like royalty. So I can imagine how, how her garments looked at that day. But give me a second. I just want my throat is so dry. I don't know why. But so she dresses up in these clothes that are really, really, like pricey material. She sews them, and she looks like royalty. I mean, if you ever like see women who are about to get married, and their clothes are really expensive. I mean, you talk about a wedding gown, you're talking about what, $4,000, $5,000 these days. But if you even look at the bridesmaids dresses, I mean, those are even costly too, and I like those dresses. They're so beautiful. I would love to be able to wear, one of those every day, But again, I mean, they're pricey, and they're made from really, really expensive material. So if she was dressed that way, I could just imagine how much of the material must have cost her, But she was always dressed up real nice. So I like to see that. And then the word purple. Purple, I don't know why, but the word purple and royalty seem to go together. I don't know why. But hey, okay. Purple means royalty. Purple. Anyway, but so that's good to know. I like that. So the verse 23, the King James, her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. 23 NIV, her husband is respected at the city gate when he takes a seat among the elders of the land. And then 23 for the New Translation is the same thing. Her husband is well known for he sits in the council meeting with the other civic leaders. So obviously, she married well. That's the only way that I see that, is that she married well, because everybody, knows who he is. Whether he was a lawyer or something like that, I don't know. But everybody knew who he was. The last part is, again, she makes the King James. She makes linen garments and sells them. The NIV, she makes garments and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. The New Living Translation, she makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. That one is backwards. The NIV is, she sells them and supplies merchants with sashes. The New Translation, she makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. So it's backwards. But I like the NIV where it says and sells them and supplies the merchants with sashes. So this girl, she's all about the business. She's all about making a buck. I mean, because obviously she knew how to sell, because she knew how to market what she had to, because she was supplying these merchants with product in order for them to sell to other people. So she was really business savvy. She knew what she was doing. And you talk about she had the vineyard. I'm looking at the time. She had the vineyard, and I'm pretty sure she had the grapes for snacking, and then she had the grapes to make wine. This throat's killing me today. And then she had the what was that? The linen, the tableware, or the table coverings, and then the bedspreads, and then she, what did she have before? That was also, that I thought she was also, 222. Let's see. No, actually, I think that was it, because she did the. Hold on. Yeah, so she made bedspreads, underclothes, table linen, things like that. She would do sell sashes. So yeah, she was really business, into the business part of her life. So she was always creating something, making something, and selling it. She was always creating, always making a product. And that's pretty good, because back then, when you had, they don't have all the things we have now, where we have everything distracting us now. We have, they didn't have back then, cable and TV and online streaming. I mean, even if I would have spoken this about 30, 40 years ago, they still didn't even have TV or radio, which could back then distract a person anyhow. Rock and roll. Now we have computers, and we have online streaming, and we have live everything, so all that, when you think about it, it's very distracting. I mean, it take you out from where you want to be, and just put that on the back burner. I'll do that later. I'll get to that later. I want to watch this. I want to download that. So everything, it can take place of what you really want to do. So back then, all you had, my earring fell. All you had was time. Okay, so time back then wasn't really an issue. Unlike, we have time now, but it wasn't really an issue. But, well, time back then, it just seemed long, probably long days. I mean, we have time now, we have our 24 hours, and it feels like minutes. It's like, God, we're working, we're doing all of a sudden, your day's over, and you come home, and it's like, you feel like you only have like 10 minutes to rest before you're back in the game tomorrow morning. But back then, I mean, because you didn't have all these distractions, time was long. It, just drag. You never knew when nighttime was going to fall, And then you had a lot of time to keep yourself busy. And this woman kept herself busy all the time. I mean, she what do you call, was business savvy. She was constantly working, making investments, doing marketing, supplying her merchants. This girl was all about the business and all about making the buck. So, woohoo to her. So that's what I got out of that verse, that she was really into what she was doing, and taking care of her family and taking care of the household and all that stuff. So that was from 22 to 24. So I really did like those three verses a lot. It just makes you think again, when you want to do something, you got to keep at it. You can't let things distract you. Otherwise, you won't get what you want done. You just got to constantly be at it. I mean, yeah, there's lots of times where I felt years ago, I'll get to that later, or procrastinating, and yeah, I'll do it another time. I'll get to that. And then when time comes around to, bringing forth things that you were supposed to bring out, I was like, didn't have it done, And it's like, you just, not only do you disappoint yourself, but you disappoint others, because they're expecting something and it's not happening. You're like, wow, that didn't happen. So that kind of puts you in a bind, right? Wouldn't you think? So, yeah, you always got to be, I think I was talking about accountability. That's one other thing. I mean, sometimes we have to keep ourselves, or have somebody help us to be accountable. Otherwise, we'll just see it as, oh, I can wait. But then when down the line, when you really need something to be done, it's not. And it's, it just affects everybody. It affects you. It affects the people you're trying to help out, or help, or whatever, impress, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. It just affects everybody. So yeah, keeping busy, and getting what you want done. Because like I said, years ago, I was that way too. And then at one point I saw, wow, can't afford not to get things done, because then later on you just disappoint yourself. And I got tired of that feeling, to tell you the truth. I was like, I'm getting tired, not only disappointing others, but I disappoint myself as well. So I'm like, can't do that no more. So I'm trying to get, catch up, and trying to, get things done. So that's what I like about her. She got things done every day. So I like that. That's probably what I'll take out of this, getting things done. Other than that, I did write what the word tapestry meant. So I looked it up, and it just meant, that was the word that popped out for me, the word tapestry. And the word purple, actually, too. But I didn't write purple down, just tapestry. But for tapestry, the definition was a picture or design weaved in color on canvas or fabric with threads. And then there was a second definition that said intricate or complex combination of things, or a sequence of events. So that's something to think about. I haven't. So that was my observation. What I observed was those two words. And the purple, excuse me, was the combination of knowing that. Knowing that purple and royalty kind of like go hand in hand for some reason. So I like knowing that. I don't think I remember if I said I was going to, when it comes to the application for Proverbs 19 and 21. I could really use or write an application for that. So I just wrote to continue to work with my hands, extend my hands, and look out for the needy, and I would not be afraid of the cold. For Proverbs 31, 22, and 24, I had to think on that one still. So, but I hope these are helping you. I mean, I like Proverbs 31 because I like the idea of how much we can put, if we really apply ourselves, how much we, male or female, how much we can get done. Okay, so that's what I think I liked mostly about the whole, half of the chapter, is how much can we get done without being distracted by this and this and that. So with that being said, I think I'm already over my limit right now. But with that being said, I hope you join me. And I know the holidays are here and everybody's busy running around doing this and this and that. But just be safe, and I hope everybody has a blessed and happy holiday. And be careful out there. And we will see you next week. Okay, so take care.